Have you ever looked at a handful of plain brown dirt and wished you could turn it into something shiny and valuable like gold? It's a wonderful thought, isn't it? For thousands of years, people all over the world have shared this very same dream. Kings and queens, farmers and sailors, young and old, they all imagined a world where simple earth could become a precious treasure. This idea is a powerful one because it speaks to a hope we all have inside us, the hope to create something amazing from something ordinary. It is a story about transformation, about finding value where others might only see dust. This enchanting idea is not just a silly daydream, it is a story that has been told in many different ways, in many different lands. It is a legend that has been passed down from parents to their children for countless generations. The story of turning dirt into gold is more than just a fairy tale about magic and riches. It is a story about hope, about the potential that lies hidden in the simplest things all around us. It reminds us that with a little bit of imagination and a lot of heart, the world can be a place full of amazing possibilities and wonderful surprises waiting to be discovered. The dream is simple, but the feeling it gives is profound. Imagine waking up one morning and knowing you had the power to change your life with just your own two hands and the ground beneath your feet. This wasn't about being greedy or wanting more than your neighbors. For most people, this dream was about security. It was about knowing you could provide for your family, that you could build a safe and happy home, and that you would always have enough to share. It's a universal wish for a better, brighter future, a wish that connects us all, no matter where we come from or what language we speak. This timeless tale is a beautiful reminder that the most valuable things in life are often not what they seem at first glance. It encourages us to look closer, to dig a little deeper, and to see the magic that exists in our everyday world. The dream of turning dirt into gold is really a dream about unlocking our own potential. It's about discovering the power we have within ourselves to cultivate, to nurture, and to create incredible value from the simple gifts the earth provides. And as we will see, sometimes the most powerful magic doesn't come from a spell book, but from a loving heart and willing hands. Long ago, there were clever people called alchemists. These were men and women who spent their entire lives in dusty workshops, surrounded by bubbling pots and strange glass bottles. Their biggest goal, their most secret quest, was to discover the method for turning common metals like lead into pure, shining gold. They believed there was a hidden recipe, a magical formula, that could unlock this incredible power. They wrote down their ideas in mysterious books, filled with strange symbols and secret codes, all in the hope of finding this one amazing secret that could change the world forever. The alchemists worked day and night mixing potions and heating metals in fiery furnaces. They studied the stars and the moon, believing that the secrets of the heavens held the key to transforming the earth. They were part scientists and part magicians, driven by a powerful curiosity and an unshakable belief that the impossible was possible. People from all walks of life would whisper stories about their work, wondering if they would ever succeed. The idea of creating gold from something less valuable was so exciting that it captured the imagination of everyone who heard about it. It was a promise of endless wealth and power. But the alchemist's quest was about more than just getting rich. For many of them, it was a spiritual journey. They believed that by purifying metals, they could also purify their own souls. They thought that finding the secret to making gold was also about finding a deeper understanding of life and the universe. Their workshops were like sacred temples, where they searched for truth and enlightenment. The bubbling liquids and colorful fumes were all part of a grand experiment to understand the hidden connections between the physical world and the spiritual world. It was a search for perfection, both in the metal and in themselves. In the end, the alchemists never found a magic potion to turn lead into gold. Their dream, in that specific way, never came true. However, in their tireless search, they discovered many other wonderful things. They learned about chemicals, they invented laboratory tools, and they laid the groundwork for modern science. Their legacy is a testament to the power of human curiosity and the importance of asking big questions. And though they never found their magical formula, their story continues to inspire us to look for the hidden gold in our own lives, in places we might least expect it. Now, our story takes us to a small, sunny village in the beautiful land of Burma. In this village lived a young man named Ong and his wonderful wife, Mala. They were deeply in love and had just started their life together in a small hut made of bamboo. Like many young couples, they had big dreams for their future. They dreamed of having a comfortable home, healthy children, and a life filled with happiness and peace. Ong was a strong and hardworking man, and Mala was kind and clever. They had each other, and they had their dreams, but they did not have much else. Ong often sat outside their hut in the evenings, looking at the small patch of land they owned. It was just simple brown dirt. He would hold a handful of it and let it run through his fingers, sighing. He had heard the old stories of the alchemists, the ones who could turn dirt into gold. "Oh Mala," he would say to his wife, his voice full of longing, "if only I knew the secret. If only I could turn this plain earth into gold, all of our worries would disappear. We could build a strong house and never have to worry about money again." His heart was filled with this one great wish. Mala would listen to her husband with a loving smile, but inside, her heart was filled with a gentle worry. She loved Ong's hopeful spirit, but she was also a practical woman. She knew that dreams alone could not put food on their table. She saw the worry lines forming on Ong's brow and knew that his constant wishing was making him feel sad and helpless. She wanted to see him happy and proud, not discouraged by a dream that seemed impossible to reach. She knew that waiting for magic to happen was not the way to build the life they both wanted so desperately. Every day, the dream of turning dirt into gold seemed to grow larger in Ong's mind. He would spend hours talking about it, imagining the wonderful things they could do with their newfound wealth. He started to neglect the small tasks around their home, always lost in his daydreams of a magical solution. Mala saw that this one beautiful dream was slowly becoming a heavy burden. It was preventing them from seeing the real opportunities that were right in front of them. She knew she had to do something to help her beloved husband find a better path, a path that was real and achievable. One sunny morning, while Ong was out in the fields, lost in his thoughts, Mala decided it was time to seek help. She felt a heavy weight on her shoulders, and knew she could not carry it alone. She thought of the one person she could always turn to for guidance and support, her father. He was an old man, with a face full of kind wrinkles and eyes that shone with a lifetime of experience. He was known throughout the village for his calm demeanor and his wise advice. He had been a farmer his whole life, and understood the rhythms of the land and the hearts of people better than anyone she knew. With a hopeful heart, Mala walked the dusty path to her father's house. She found him sitting in the shade of a large banyan tree mending a fishing net. He looked up as she approached and greeted her with a warm, loving smile. "Mala, my dear daughter," he said, his voice gentle and calm. "What brings you here today? You have a look of concern on your face." He put down his net and gave her his full attention, making her feel safe and understood. Just being in his presence made her feel a little bit lighter, and she knew she had come to the right place for help. Mala sat down beside him and poured out her heart. She told him all about Ong's dream of turning dirt into gold and how it had started to consume him. She explained how he was growing more and more frustrated, waiting for a magical secret that might never come. "I love him so much, Father," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "But this dream is making him unhappy. He only sees the poor dirt we have, not the life we could build with it. I don't know how to help him see the truth." She looked at her father with pleading eyes, hoping he would have the answer she so desperately needed. Her father listened patiently, nodding his head slowly as she spoke. He didn't interrupt her once. When she had finished, he remained silent for a long moment, looking out at the green rice paddies that stretched before them. Then a slow, knowing smile spread across his face. "Ah," he said softly, "the alchemist's secret. It is a powerful dream indeed, but do not worry, my child. I happen to know the secret. I can teach Ong how to turn dirt into gold. It is a very special kind of magic, one that my father taught me. Tell Ong to come and see me tomorrow at sunrise." The next morning, just as the first rays of sun painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, Ong arrived at his father-in-law's house. He was filled with a mix of excitement and disbelief. Could it be true? Could this wise old farmer really know the ancient secret of the alchemists? He found the old man waiting for him, holding two strange objects, a long sharp knife and a small banana plant. Ong looked at the items in confusion. He had expected to see bubbling potions or ancient scrolls, not simple gardening tools and a common plant. This was not the magic he had imagined. The father-in-law smiled kindly at Ong's puzzled expression. "You have come for the secret to turning dirt into gold," he said in a calm, steady voice. "I will share it with you, but you must promise to follow my instructions exactly. This magic requires patience and hard work. It cannot be rushed." Ong, eager to learn, nodded his head enthusiastically. "I promise, father," he replied. "I will do whatever you say." He was ready to learn the mysterious process, no matter how strange it seemed at first. He trusted the wisdom of this man who had successfully cared for his family for so many years. "Good," the old man said. "Now listen carefully. The first part of the secret is this. We must not tell Mala what we are doing. This magic works best when it is kept between us. The second part of the secret involves these banana plants." He handed Ong the small plant. "You must plant this and many more like it on your patch of land, but there is a special way to do it. You must whisper the alchemist's secret words into the soil as you plant them." He then leaned in and whispered 2 words into Ong's ear: Abris and Precatorius. Ong had never heard these words before and thought they must be very powerful. Ong was a bit surprised that the secret involved keeping something from his beloved Mala, but he had made a promise. He was also fascinated by the strange, magical-sounding words. He repeated them to himself over and over again: Abris, Precatorius, so he would not forget. The old man explained that these words held the power to start the transformation of dirt into gold. He instructed Ong to go home, prepare his land, and plant the banana shoots while chanting the secret words. Ong's heart beat with excitement. Finally, his dream was about to begin. He was on the path to becoming a true alchemist. Ong returned to his land with a newfound sense of purpose. He no longer saw just plain dirt, he saw a canvas for his magic. Following his father-in-law's instructions, he began the hard work. He cleared the weeds, tilled the soil, and dug neat rows of holes for the banana shoots. With each plant he placed in the earth, he dutifully whispered the secret words he'd been taught: Abris, Precatorius. He did not know what they meant, but he trusted they held the key to his future wealth. He worked from the moment the sun rose until it set, his body aching but his spirit soaring with hope and anticipation. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The work was demanding. Ong had to water the plants every single day, carrying heavy buckets of water from the nearby stream. He had to protect the young shoots from hungry insects and wandering animals. He spent countless hours under the hot sun, nurturing his growing crop. When Mala asked him what he was doing, he would simply smile and say it was a secret project. She saw the change in him. He was no longer daydreaming and sighing. He was active, focused, and full of energy. She was happy to see him working so hard, even if she didn't understand the mystery behind it. As the banana plants grew taller and stronger, Ong's father-in-law would visit him regularly. He would inspect the plants and give Ong more instructions for the magic. "Now, Ong," he would say, "the next step in the process is to feed the plants with this special mixture." The mixture was simply cow manure and compost, but the old man presented it as a vital alchemical ingredient. He taught Ong how to prune the leaves and support the heavy stalks to ensure the fruit would be large and sweet. Every step was framed as part of the secret magical formula for turning dirt into gold. Ong followed every piece of advice without question. He learned to read the signs of the weather and the needs of his plants. He became a skilled and dedicated farmer, though in his mind he was an alchemist practicing a secret art. The physical labor was intense, but his belief in the magical outcome gave him incredible strength and stamina. He was no longer just waiting for a miracle to happen. He was actively participating in its creation. He was pouring his sweat and his hope into the very dirt he had once scorned, and slowly but surely, something truly magical was beginning to take shape. After many months of hard work and patient waiting, the day finally arrived. The banana plants were heavy with large, beautiful bunches of ripe yellow fruit. The field that was once just brown dirt was now a lush green forest bursting with life. The bananas shone in the sunlight like clusters of pure gold. Ong stood in the middle of his field, his heart swelling with pride and awe. The magic had worked. He had followed the secret formula, and the earth had given him a treasure. He couldn't wait to show his father-in-law the incredible results of their secret project. He rushed to the old man's house, his face beaming with joy. "Father, come and see!" he exclaimed. "The dirt has turned to gold!" The father-in-law came with him and smiled warmly as he looked upon the magnificent harvest. "You have done well, my son," he said. "You have been a dedicated alchemist. But now comes the final step in the magic." He then instructed Ong to carefully harvest the bananas and take them to the market in the nearby town. This was the part of the spell that would complete the transformation and reveal the final treasure. Ong and Mala loaded a cart with the beautiful yellow bananas and traveled to the bustling town market. People were amazed by the quality of their fruit. The bananas were so large, sweet, and perfect that everyone wanted to buy them. By the end of the day, they had sold every single bunch. Ong's hands were not full of dirt but of silver coins, more money than he had ever held before. On the way home, he looked at the coins shining in his hand, and then at his loving wife Mala. A slow realization began to dawn on him, like the morning sun rising over his fields. He finally understood. He turned to Mala and then hurried to his father-in-law's house, the coins jingling in his pocket. He looked at the wise old man and smiled. "I understand the secret now," Ong said. "The magic words, abrus precatorius, they are just the scientific name for a common vine, aren't they?" "There was no magic spell," the old man chuckled. "The only magic, my son, is the magic of hard work, smart planning, and the fertile earth. The dirt did not literally become gold. You turned the dirt's potential into a valuable crop, and that crop brought you gold. The real alchemy was in your own two hands all along." Ong and Mala embraced, their hearts full of love and a new, richer understanding of life. They had found the true secret to turning dirt into gold, and it was more wonderful than any fairy tale.